Yeah, welcome to this next podcast or online session. My name is Professor Markus Launer from Germany. I teach at Ostfalia University and I research at the Institute for Contemporary Studies on Management called CoSiM. It's a research institute established 10 years ago with the funding of the Lotto Sports Foundation. And this year we will start a new exciting new paradigm on artificial intelligence. And I'm very happy to work together with ENAM and the AI Explain Science. And we signed today the cooperation. We will talk about that and also about publication in the era of artificial intelligence. A lot of things have changed. Maybe we start with the invitation to our conference. First things first, September 8th, we have a live seminar in Germany. So everybody who has budget and can afford to travel to Germany, please come and join. We will do a full week of activities, including the postdoctoral program. And arrival would be around September 4 or 5. Over the weekend, we will visit Bremen, Hamburg, Lübeck, and we have a great seminar in Uelzen. Then we will transfer to Berlin. On the way, we will stop over in Schwerin, which is the most beautiful castle in Germany. Yeah, forget the Cinderella Castle in Bavaria. That's also nice, but the most exciting one is in Schwerin. And then we will be in Berlin as a guest of the SRH University, and we'll have a big ceremony. So this is the part in presence, and maybe Inam, you can talk about the online conference and how to register. Well, first of all, everybody is chasing for the Scopus indexed papers, and that's a special challenge. I mean, it's not a very high hurdle. Scopus means that it's an organized process, and the Scopus is observing and controlling the process. So it's a good process, very objective, and but it's not easy to get Scopus indexed publications. They put it into different categories: Q1, Q2, Q3, Q4. So there are different journals in the ranking, Q1 being the highest, and that's going to be very difficult. We discussed it last time. I recommend, if you start publishing, publish with someone who is experienced already and who is has already an H index installed. What is an H index? This is an index. The Hirsch index calculates if you have citations of your published research. So if you start with cooperating with other groups, that's fine. However, some of the journals now will ask, what was your part in this paper? So the times are over where you can just add someone, yeah, that he gets a citation or a publication. Ethically, you need to sign off. What did you do? Did you do the literature study? Did you do the calculations or proofreading or the concept? And that needs to be written down. So that it's basically new. I see this for the last year by now. I got asked a lot. There are some papers with lots of people on it. Yeah, mostly the non-indexed papers. Yeah, sometimes I see up to 20 people on a paper. That's basically more from Asia and more on presentations and pre publications. Yeah, and that's good for training, being part of a group, but for adding up in the rankings, not so good. I would not recommend to start alone unless you go to a just maybe non-indexed a journal. But the thing is, you need to learn the process. You need to learn to make good research design, write the paper well, and concentrate on what the paper wants. That needs to be learned. And so there are many things you need to take care of. Maybe I can add something. You're talking about research gap, and that's fully correct, but there are not that many real research gaps, to be honest. And it's hard to find, and you need to have a lot of experience. What I tell my students, what also can be done is if you have your key papers that you want to base your article on, go into the Outlook, the conclusion. They tell you what the next researcher should do. And typically, I tell my students, don't write that because nobody is going to follow you. But for you, it would be good to follow the professors that have already published. So I tell my students to make a list of all the to-dos that other researchers did before in their papers. And like I said, you find this in the conclusion. And you just continue the work that the former researchers did. That's very good and very precise research because you are in the paradigm and you do the next step. To have a new research gap, each and every PhD student is looking for one, and then you end up in a very small niche, which is good for your PhD thesis, and you can publish there, yeah. But if you want to have different subjects a little bit more broader, it's hard to find a research niche. And to write there's a research gap, that's a big issue. That's a big word, that there's a gap. You found a gap. Jesus, you're really genius. So, and if I'm a reviewer and someone tells me he found a research gap, I like it more if you say you continue on the research paradigm. Yeah, maybe we start with the bad side is with artificial intelligence. Now, it helps you a lot in writing research papers. And that's fine if you do literature studies. That's easy. But I had the incident that in my conferences before, there were some people who used AI for literature study, and it was okay because the literature was okay. But you can track that with Turnitin. Turnitin is a program for professors. We use that in Germany. And you can detect if someone used AI. And a lot of people are very, very nervous and very strict on that. I'm not so much. If you write literature study with AI, I think it's fine. It does a great job because it adds to the research. However, I had an incident from Iran, unfortunately. Someone faked not one study, not two. This lady faked 3 studies. And that was at my conference. And one of the papers, my name was on it. And I said, oh my God. If you get one study and it says it's empirical and everything, then you need to have a data set. And I asked for, please send me the data set. And it was not sent. And then I said, where's the calculations? Where's the data? On and on. She did not send it. So I found out the one study was fake. I looked into the second study. another fake study, the third one as well. And it's, it's even worse if you make 3 studies empirically in a year with interviews, cannot happen. So I had to call uh, the president of this conference to take out my name and everything, and I researched in. I did not report her. I don't want to ruin someone's life if someone does a mistake, but she will not participate in the CoSiM conference. Unfortunately, she added another person I liked very much and I supported, and she was on 2 of these fake studies. So be careful not faking anything. That's unethical. And if you do that, if someone reports you, you will be banned maybe for lifetime. Couple of funding opportunities like Erasmus or DAAD, DAAD, and we will look for further funding for the CoSiM Research Institute. Um, to come to Germany is not easy. First of all, immigration laws are very strict, and honestly, I think it will be even more strict going forward because we have a lot of problems with people coming from Islamic countries. And I don't want to judge, but just want you to warn that this is not supporting to get a visa to Germany or to Europe. It's rather the opposite way now. My wife is from the Philippines, also no visa 2 times. We got denied 2 times. Nobody comes to Germany from the Philippines unless you are a professor or millionaire or you own a company or you work for the state. So the German embassies are very, very strict. And it's hard to get interviews. And if you get interviews, you really should be well prepared. Take this very seriously. And the most important thing is, at least for the Filipinos and maybe for Thais, I don't know for other countries, but this is the probability to return to your country. Yeah. I mean, there's in the past big issues with um, children, big issues with women becoming prostitutes in Europe, and that they will stop that. They have stopped that. But that brings along that a lot of other people cannot enter the Germany or Europe. Yeah, so it became very difficult to travel. Take this very seriously. It will not be easy. The other thing is, especially Germany is very bureaucratic. Yeah, and paperwork is detailed, controlled by the embassy. Yeah, even if my wife, she came here to get married and had a marriage visa, a spy was coming to her house making an interview. Yeah, all the paperwork, especially in the Philippines, very difficult. Yeah, to get all the paperwork done, because in some of the Asian countries, let's say 20, 30 years ago, they did not properly uh, report everything. And my wife had to change a lot of things with the government that have been reported wrongly. So it was a lot of work. So expect the worst. Coming to Germany is also expensive. Yeah, we are one of the most expensive countries. If you want to work here or something, we have the highest taxes, the highest social welfare, and expect that to go up. Yeah, because there will be some reforms coming going forward. It will start this year, and it will continue the next years. That it will become more difficult because there's a lot of crime going on, a lot of cheating, and people are really tired with people coming to Germany not working, and that is unfortunately from Islamic countries very big. Yeah, Syria and Afghanistan, big problem. And from Ukraine, we have a lot of refugees that come to Germany and don't work. It's a huge costing. Like I said, I don't want to judge, but it's very, very costly. Various aspects, you don't even think about where it's not only the monthly payment, you get a lot of things that are, and Germany cannot afford it anymore. And if I'm talking to investment people, also you need to take in mind that we maybe go into a recession. Germany has no growth for 7 years. It's a disaster. We're the third largest economy in the world, not growing for 7 years. It's a disaster for Germany. We had, I don't want to even talk politics, but um, the signs are going more down towards a recession. And that is not a very good environment to do research in Germany, unfortunately, to say. Inam is here now in Sweden. Maybe Sweden is doing better, but it's not a good time to come. The last years have been perfect. Yeah, a lot of support, very open. Imagine Angela Merkel saying refugees welcome 2015. I started my company 2016. And there was a very positive thing, a very positive climate that has changed due to a lot of rapes, um, cheating, murders on the street, knife incidents. And unfortunately, I have to say, Islam is always included in that. So if you're from an Islamic country, it's going to be difficult. My friend from Turkey, we want to go to a conference in the United States. Very hard to get a visa for him. Yeah, he's non-religious, nothing, no problem with him, but just the wrong passport, the wrong religion, and this will become a bigger problem going forward. I'm just telling you very objectively, not not a good development right now. if you do research, and I can tell you from my bad experience, first of all, you need a very firm theoretical foundation. And we did a big study on digital trust. It was a huge study, and the theoretical foundation was not firm enough. So a lot of people that are in a doctorate program or postdoc did not participate because they have to stick very, very cautiously with the rules. So only 3 researchers, professors work with us. You need to make it very, very sure that your theoretical foundation is firm and discuss that critically with a lot of experts. Then the second thing is, if you do empirical research, your questionnaire should be also very much theoretically founded. What I do is I write typically preprints, and I have theoretical foundation for each and every single question. Yeah, it's easy to do now with AI, even better, but each question need to be somehow connected to former research. Yeah, we are not a newspaper where you can ask someone's opinion or something just without theory. I would suggest each and every question, and if you have a question block, let's say 3 or 4 questions on one topic, you need to have a questionnaire that has been used before. So I would suggest that you use blocks of questions where the questions are validated. Yeah. If you add that up, different blocks, you still have your own research and you're not repeating an existing research, but it's based on validated questions. If you want to do put or add on your own questions, I can just warn you, it needs to be, first of all, well theoretically founded. And second, there's a statistical procedure how to select questions. Let's say you have a list of 10 questions you want to ask. Yeah, you do your research empirically, then you go with ANOVA research or with Kronbach Alpha through that, and you find out what are the questions that you can really use for the future. That's not an easy process. It needs to be statistically well done. Yeah. So I can just warn you, with own questions that are new, rather work on validated questions and make a small step in science. This is what it is in science. It's not about big steps. Small steps are fine, and that makes it more likely to be published. Yeah, just have been to China end of last year, and let's put it this way: this is the new leading world. Not even the United States is following well, and Europe far behind. So everything coming from China is so advanced right now. The schools are so perfectly organized. The competition is huge. These Chinese people don't even talk to you if you're not Scopus indexed, high H index, or something. It's highly competitive. So China is the most advanced country in the world right now. In many ways, artificial intelligence, car manufacturer, yeah, especially bad for Germany. Lots of research areas where they're really advanced. So it's really hard to compete. You really need to analyze what these Chinese people did before the publications and everything. And we are not used to that because everybody was looking to America. Yeah? Most of the publications and the best journals are from the United States. And we don't take the Chinese that serious yet. Yeah, we're too snobbish, too high nose to take this seriously. But um, there are new journals, new universities that are excellent, very hardworking people. And that you need to know, especially if you're coming from third world countries or not so developed countries. Yeah, it's you really need to be aware of your disadvantage. Yeah, and if you're aware of that, then you can focus where is your niche and how to get through. Yeah, I mean, let's say Germany. I want to research artificial intelligence, but what the hell I'm talking about? Germany has no artificial intelligence. Yeah, we have maybe one company in Germany, N8AN, that might be gets funding a few hundred millions now, but who takes Germany seriously in artificial intelligence? Nobody. It's the United States. It's Stanford University and others. Yeah, not even Harvard University anymore, with all the discrimination going on by Muslims discriminating Jews and everything. Lots of things have changed. We should be aware there's a huge shift away from Europe, and United States not so good anymore. The United States has the advantage of a very good capital system. They get a lot of funding. That's why they have huge funding for artificial intelligence this year, for example. They invest $1,000 billion this year. That's huge. Even China is less, but more efficient. Yeah, they make it open source. Another thing, China does a lot of things open source. They have the technology and they share it. Very different approach. So a lot of people can work on AI and develop things. In the United States, much more difficult, yeah, because it's protected and everything. So you need to find your niche to compete in this area. And I've seen a couple of research from India and lots of discussions there. I have an Indian research group, and they're all complaining. But I've been to India. Okay, it was 9 years ago, but it's a different world. It's third world. There are some niches where you have well-developed countries, but the whole research area, the funding, the universities, the network that they have, don't underestimate that. It's hard to compete. Yeah, like I said, you can use any tool from AI if you have good prompts and good research, especially for literature studies. That's good. Also, what's very good is to write the methodology or the results, because that's a standard phrasing, standard procedures, and you can use it for that and rewrite it maybe. I try to do a prompt to rewrite and humanize it. Not possible. I spent a few days on it. Forget it. Yeah, the quality gets bad if you do so, if you do all the tricks that you can find out. However, I would not recommend for writing AI. I would recommend research for literature. The good thing is with the prompts, you can easily search for literature. You can categorize it easily. For example, Financial Times 50 literature, Scopus, Web of Science. Then the latest literature I teach my students, let's say 2026 literature. Yeah. Let's say the literature published in 2026 is not from 2026. That's from 25. Because if you publish in a good paper, it takes half a year to a year to publish. So if you want to have latest information from 2026, you need to go to non-indexed literature. And that's risky. Now we are in the conference papers, we are in the preprints where there is no quality control. So you can research it and cite it, but you need to know what you're doing. Maybe you're citing a stupid researcher being totally drunk and published just something. So it's not controlled. So if you structure your research, that's well. I always prompt, give me the DOI in the literature list, so you can double check if it's not hallucinating. But in research, it's quite well. You can use any tool, and some people say Anthropic is writing better, but this changes every month. You know, there's a new release, a new update, and then you want to follow monthly what program is good. I would not recommend. Searching the literature, finding the best theoretical basis is also good to, for example, in methodology, yeah, and having your theory based to find and look for the right literature to search for, yeah, because it's very hard on scope on Google Scholar or something. It's too much. You need to have, and if you have specific questions, do that. And then I would write it myself, yeah, because I tested it. Now wrote a couple of things with AI, and let's say legal letters perfectly. Yeah. Invitations, parties, great. Research, no. Um, the the coding of these AI programs is too much on statistically what is the next logical thing, and that's not what we want to do in research. Yeah, we don't want to take existing data and then just write something that's very likely to sound similar to what's already published. The idea is wrong of AI. Second, AI is more on statistics, what is the most likely next word, and not proof. There are no really tools in place that can prove that this is right or wrong. Yeah. I don't know how that works, that Tronitine is not detecting it, but I remember Inam and Gita, a lady from Morocco, right? We're working on a book. So I asked all my friends to submit, and they all submitted, and we all looked at Tronitine, and it was below 10%. I checked it all. We handed in to Gita all the papers, and it took a while until we got feedback. But then 2 or 3 months later, the message is 80% AI. And everybody said, what? We controlled it. We didn't use it. What's wrong? And Inam and I had a discussion, and then we found out that Tornitine had a new release. They just upgraded or improved or something. Maybe it was also wrong, but all of a sudden, a lot of papers had AI. So I would not recommend use AI to write. Full stop. Don't do it. And the point is, once you started, you're on the wrong track, and you're overestimating your capabilities. Yeah? And the point is, if you use AI more and more, you never get into research. You don't understand what research is about. To read a paper, to understand it, find critics, uh, discuss it, compare it, or things like that, that is research that needs to be done by humans, and it will be done for a long time also, especially to find out something new. By talking about how can you use I would not even think into prompts and find a way of easy publishing. Like I said, you're on the wrong track. If we find out, I will not work with you anymore. Once your name is with AI, it's done. The point is, you can ask questions, like Inam said. Ask questions. How do I have to do that? You have to a research paper. I think I said it last time in the last call. I made a research paper, and I asked AI how to do that for Scopus index, talala, and I wrote it descriptive. That's literature study. Then I asked, can we upgrade it to a higher level, like Financial Times 50 level? And then AI said, well, then you have to rewrite the whole paper. You see, these are the questions then you can ask. How to do that, make it reviewer proof. What are the questions a reviewer would ask? So if you ask questions to AI, that's perfect, because it will answer you all your questions. But if you start thinking and writing with AI, I think you're not a researcher. I'm not interested, because I can do this myself. Yeah, I don't need any people working with me using AI for writing papers. What is it? No need for them. Just think about that. If you work with AI, you are worthless. Let's put it this way, because whatever you do can be reproduced by any stupid guy. Yeah, like a butcher, or I don't know, they're not stupid, but they didn't study, they are not researchers. Yeah, a nurse, whatever, a carpenter can go on AI and said, write me a research paper. That's not considered research, and it will never be. So if you do that, that's the wrong track. The right track is to work with AI, to ask questions, and also ask. One other example, I was writing with AI a journalistic article. There it's fine, about artificial intelligence and AI agents, and it asks, always talk about APIs. I said, okay, what the fuck is API? What are we talking about? Well, this is the Schnittstellen, how you call this, the connections. I said, so what's with the connections? I don't get it. It's a connection. Yeah, you connect to a computer, so what's the deal? And you need to ask questions that AI is not telling you. And then I ask questions, tell me why you do this. It takes 3 or 4 questions to phrase it correctly. And then it says, because it's connecting worldwide to everything. It's not two computers. AI agents can connect everywhere in the world. I said, oh my God, now I got it. Yeah. So you need to ask 3 or 4 questions on that. And another thing I just found, I discussed with a friend of mine, I said, how can we support people really in using AI? And it's not technical. You know, everybody can use AI. So it's not that you need to understand how AI works. And he said, learn a language. I said, what? A language? What does that mean? And the point is, it's a large language model. You need to be very good in a language because you type in your questions. You need to be very precise. And when he told me that, I said, me, I myself, I'm not precise. I'm not. I'm always having too much words. I need to explain what I'm doing before you understand. There are some people who make one sentence, done, you understand. With me, I understood that why, if I ask something, I don't write one sentence, I write 3 or 4 sentences because I'm not clear. And very often I get an answer, I don't want it. So I need to rephrase it 2 or 3 times. And that's okay if you do that. So I can admit it. But to, in language, precisely communicate, know the words, you know, and especially in English, if you use in English, you know, English seems easy to learn in the beginning, but the Oxford English, the high level English, it's far beyond. Now, if I listen to British people, smart British people, I don't understand them. It's like a different language. And English can be very, very precise. German, also very precise language. So I don't know about your India, Hindu, Pakistani language, Urdu or something, how precise the language is. That might be a problem. Let's take the Philippines, my wife, yeah. The language is very easy. You cannot prompt well, you cannot ask questions because the language itself is not precisely enough. That's a big disadvantage to write and ask in English. Don't overestimate your abilities. English is a very precise language if you take high British English. And I know rarely people having a good, very good English. Hmm. And always think about that AI is only answering what you ask for. It's about 10 pages or not more than 7,000 to 8,000 words. And there's very little. 80 pages is a book. Yeah. And it's easy to publish a book online because it's just a PDF, but a book is a book. A journal paper is 8,000 words. And I can tell you that because I cannot write precisely. As I said, I admitted it. I'm not precisely. And in English, I'm not precisely at all. So if I write something, I always have too much. I always have to shorten. And the thing is, if you shorten, this is another step of doing research. Yeah, to make one paragraph and put that into one sentence. That takes time and a lot of thinking. And don't think about now AI is doing that because, like I said, it's only the most likely answer to your question. You need to really think about that. And uh, German, famous German philosopher Goethe once said to his love, he wrote, at that time they were writing letters only, and he said, "Today I do not have a lot of time to write you. That's why I write you a long letter." That's me. It's easy to write a long letter and explain the things, but if you need to shorten it and make it precise, that takes a lot of time. Don't underestimate that. The thinking and the again and again. And I can tell you, a friend of mine from Turkey was visiting me for a month. And for 2 weeks, we're working on research papers. And he was sitting at my desk in my living room. And he was sitting there for one paper 5 days, not moving, taking a little walk, yeah, going shopping, yeah, whatever, have some food. But he was sitting on one spot and he has his small laptop. And you don't see him typing a lot. You see him researching and thinking, researching and thinking. And then he writes one thing. And then after 5 days, he said, "Markus, we are finished. We can publish." I said, "Do you want to proofread it? Want to blah, blah, blah?" He said, "I think it's done." Mm. On how much literature, I just saw that. And I'm the wrong person to ask because I was trained at my university to make a lot of citations. And like I said, I'm writing long. I have I make very dedicated research. I want to do it all, and that's wrong. So my friends say, "Okay, Markus, you have so many literature. Now delete 2/3 of it and concentrate on the good ones." So that's another thing. It's not that the amount of citations and sources is you really need to find the right ones. And that's a feeling thing. Yeah. First of all, you can check the age index of the people, the journals they publish, and things like that. Yes. But also the fit to your paper and the thinking, does it really support your idea? Yeah. If I write, I'm too much into a lot of citations and this and that, blah, 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 and I don't want to miss something. But that, I can tell you, is the wrong approach. Again, sitting down, thinking, do I need this research? No. Bum. What I like to do is like a sample citation or sampling citation, I call that. Yeah. You have one idea and I want to make it very firm. I want to support this idea. So I have a lot of citations. And that's wrong. You need to have the right. One is enough. That's a very good, solid paper that you cite, a very high level from a good researcher. You have one, it's the correct one, and it's fine. I always find myself having, yeah, but this one also writing about that, and this one, not too many citations. My problem. To be very honest, it's all under the leadership of Dr. Inam Ullah Khan. He's the true leader. He's connected well all over the world. He knows AI, how to organize, and he has great ideas. And maybe one more thing for you as a PhD student or postdoc, especially postdocs want to become a university professor. It's not only about writing papers, it's also getting funding, financing, organizing conferences, participating in conferences, is many different academic tasks to do. And Inam gives you the chance to experience that with his activities and be part of it, even if it's a small step or a small work that you do. That's important for your application, when you collect the papers. uh, the the professors want to see you not only in researching and publishing, but you need to understand the whole process of research, organization at university, administrative tasks. Yeah, if Inam needs help in organizing something or some, get involved, and get a little paper, a little email confirming that you did this and that. That adds up. I just have seen a friend of mine failing. Well, he's also young, but it was not, he had good publications, everything, but not enough experience in managing a professorship. Yeah, there's much more than researching, also teaching and everything. So make it a very broad approach, get everything you can do being involved, fundraising, whatever it is at universities, and get little paperwork. Yeah, and if you work with us, we can also give you a citation or a little certificate, and we can do that. Next time, next time from Bangkok. We have a meeting in Bangkok with Siam University. So if you happen to be from Thailand, visit us July 7th at Siam University.